Namaste and welcome. Peace to you all in this beautiful morning this morning. I'm Chantel from She Achieves Studio, and this is your hump day 5-minute morning meds. Whether you're watching this live or recorded, this will also be posted on She Achieves Studio Facebook page. And it's a 50-50 shot if it's gonna be able to post on YouTube or not. The last weekend card pull, I was not able to post it on YouTube for whatever reason. And I feel that the reasoning was actually that it was a very sacred space that we held under the full moon. And the universe was guiding, saying sometimes it's got to be live and recorded, and sometimes YouTube is not accepted. So love and let go. Love and let go. Good morning. Beautiful. Today our weekend, our 5-minute morning meds is based off of the weekend card pull intent. And what came up with the weekend card pull under the full moon had to do with not only freedom, yet freedom into intuition, okay? So we're going to piggyback off of the weekend card pull intent of intuition, and that is our intent this morning for 5-minute morning meds. And our mudra this morning is Sakshi Mudra, and this is inner witness. So if you can see this, join all the tips of the fingers together, pointing upward, base of the palms together. Soften the knuckles away from one another. Align the thumbs and bend the tip to the knuckle facing forward. So basically, we bring the thumbs together and we make sort of like a Anjali Mudra in a sense. But the thumbs, can you see that? The thumbs are together, okay? So when we go into the meditation, that's what Mudra will be inviting to help us connect a little bit more deeply into our intuition. And part of intuition is asking yourself, it's not so much to bypass the mind per se as it is to resolve, to find resolve in the mind. And in a sense to come from a neutral witness. And it's almost as if you're unlearning everything that you've learned about how we meditate. Okay, so we may go into our yogic practice, whatever it is, mantra, mudra, asana, philosophy, yoga sutras, 8 limbs, whatever it is, and we may feel that we have to be a certain way to receive the presence of the yoga, okay? We have to dress a certain way, we have to talk a certain way, there's some things we should do, there's some things we shouldn't do before we meditate, during the meditation, during a yoga practice, okay? And in essence, I love to contemplate that because in essence, yoga is always within us. Okay, and we just live in a world that likes to put a lot of rules and regulations on us. And that starts at a very early age in our life. So when if we, because remember, the choice is yours to step in or step out. And not a breath before you're ready are you going to be able to do that. Okay, so please honor that, number one, first and foremost. Honor where you're at every day. And sometimes when we are ready to receive our yoga practice in whatever form it is, whatever system of yoga it is, we may feel inadequate, perhaps because we don't have this, or because the mind is constantly going and chattering. The vrittis, we call them the chitta and the vrittis, okay, or the samskaras. Or the kleshas, the deeply ingrained ruts, okay? Our mind, our monkey mind, goes when we're trying to meditate, right? I don't know if anyone's ever had that. And your mind doesn't shut off. You're thinking about the laundry, the dishes, the bills. Maybe you're thinking about COVID. Maybe you're thinking about the dog that's barking in the backyard. Maybe you're thinking of your ingrown toenail. Like, I don't know what you could be thinking of. And we try to shut the mind off during the meditation. Yet, the mind's job, in essence, is not to shut off. That is its job. It's like this furry little puppy next to me, Lickifer, telling her, don't bark. I want you to not bark. I want you to stop barking. And a dog really only knows how to bark and howl and maybe growl, okay? So it's not going to come out any different. So then what happens is our expectations are different than the actual outcome. So instead, the invitation for you is when we enter meditation, see the mind. Thank the mind. The mind figures things out for us. It gets us from A to B. It helps us problem solve. However, when we receive meditation, can we somehow ask the mind, invite the mind from the front row to perhaps the second or third row? And we bring into focus more of that intuitive quality that governs intuition. Okay, does that make sense? So all we're doing is we're inviting. We're inviting the mind to step back a little bit, and we replace the thoughts. Instead of the dog barking, we replace the thoughts into our breath. And a beautiful way to do this is to become your inner witness. And in yoga, we call this Purusha. Purusha is where we detach our identity from our thoughts. We separate ourselves. We create, let's say, a bridge to back up and to become the witness versus being the witnessed. We become the seer versus being the seen. And that's what we're going to try and tap into today, into our 5-minute morning meds. So first, let's open up some space, a little bit of sacred space. I have my little matchbox with some white buffalo sage that I'm going to light, and ask that all of the elements are present for our 5-minute morning meds. I'm also going to ask that the elements, I already did that, the directions, the directions and the elements, okay, are present in our 5-minute morning meds. And that we can see clearly, and that we can see more with our eyes closed. And we invite the mind to find a sense of nurturing through this meditation. We ask the mind to receive into intuitive nourishment, to soothe and relax any barriers of I should be doing this. And we just ask the mind to find a sense of settlement into our breath. Okay, and I'll guide you there. Beautiful. Thank you. Oh, look at that. Isn't that beautiful? We're just going to let that steep a little bit. And while we're letting the white buffalo sage steep, can you find a comfortable position for your physical body this morning? Whether you're lying in bed, seated, kneeling, standing, find a sense of stillness in your physical body. And when you're there, lengthen through the spine, whatever that means to you, okay? The beautiful part of She Achieves Studio, that I've really tried to have a deep sense of integrity with is to invite space above good or bad and invite space above right or wrong. We live in a world that is very opinionated, that is very linear, as well as creative, okay? So there's both happening. Yet, I find that we, as humanity, we tend to be very free in what is right and wrong, and what is good or bad. And that is yin and yang. And in essence, those are, along with the gunas, the three qualities of all universe. Yin and yang is always a constant as well. You know, without good, there can't be bad. Without bad, there can't be good. Okay, so that's the yin and yang. So at She Achieves Studio, whether it's Root to Crown, a chakra balancing series, Root to Crown Foundations, which I offer right now, and Thai yoga massage, or whether it's the free lives that I do twice a week, Wednesdays and Sundays, the invitation is to rise above into a higher frequency than good or bad. So that's the frequency of the mind. And we try to create safe and sacred space. I try to, along with you, to rise above that linear mind, to let it rest. The mind is busy, and you know what? Sometimes I feel the mind becomes tired. And that's when we sometimes fall into our defaults of anxiety, fear, depression, and worry. So in essence, when we're able to be invited into a space where really there is no right or wrong, the mind can settle. And one thing I've learned with Root to Crown Foundations, it's one of the most popular series at She Achieves Studio, is it's really hard to feel pleasure if we don't feel safe. And what happens if we don't feel safe in our mind? Then it can be challenging. There can be some distortion from that holds us back from going up into that intuitive space. And intuition is clear. It's freeing. Intuition is knowing without having to reason. So you can see how that kind of makes sense, where we're above the mind's frequency, because the mind has to make sense. The mind has to make sense. It wants to figure it out. Okay? So when we feel safe in our physical bodies, in our physical space, we then can invite a sense of pleasure and creativity. And in essence, that's Svadhisthana, sacral chakra. And then from that pleasure, we can ignite, we can motivate, we can metabolize this pleasure. And that is Manipura, the jewel of the navel in our solar plexus. It has to do with action, ego, confidence, lack of confidence, self-worth, lack of self-worth. Okay, so you're following how we sort of build up. So that's Root to Crown Foundations anyways. But the main point, the moral of that story was, in order to reach intuition, we want to govern a sense of safety. And it starts with the physical body, and then it moves up from there. Okay? Okay, so let's find our comfortable position for our meditation. This is only an invitation, not an expectation. And that is our mudra this morning. Sakshi Mudra. And it assists in self-study, being the witness versus being the witnessed. Because in yogic philosophy, in Ayurveda, which I'm trained in, among other things, but Ayurveda is to be able to become the seer versus the seen. So our experiences are not who we are. And I remember the first time, I'm going to be honest with you, I remember the first time I heard that, and I was so attached to every experience in my life, everything. I took everything personally, everything that happened. Whether I smiled at someone on the street and they didn't smile back, I took that personally. If one of my family members or friends were in a bad mood, or like feeling heavy, bad mood, feeling heavy, I would take it personally. I thought, what was I doing wrong? Okay, for many, many years, up until I really started to embrace yogic philosophy and the higher realms. Okay, and now I get it. It took a long time, though. It took a lot of time to be able to create that bridge from the experiences to who I truly am. And that's what we're trying to offer this morning. So the inner witness is, this mudra is going to help with that. Okay? Because mudras are kind of like our hand yoga. So we bring the thumbs together, and then we kind of bend the thumbs in and make a little steeple. Okay? So if you're resonating with that, please feel free to do so. Beautiful. And find a steady space, lengthen through the spine, and start with Muladhara, your root support, your perineum, the sits, the seat, the legs. Okay, find comfort and stillness and a sense of heaviness into Muladhara. She's our base support. She's what supports us. She's our foundation on all 5 levels: physically, emotionally, mentally, energetically, intuitively, and spiritually. She is the base. She is our compound. She, in essence, is our integrity. So allow that connection to happen, and bring your hands to your heart center, elbows out to the side, and invite a gentle relax into the shoulders. Elevate through the chest and gently humble the head. Now, invite the teeth and jaw to become soft and supple. And how we can do that is invite the mind's direction. Invite the mind's thoughts into your tongue. Invite the mind to witness the tongue. The suppleness, the moistness, the sweetness, the tartness, everything about the tongue. Invite the mind into the tongue, as if the tongue had a front seat and the mind is a few seats back, and the mind is just looking at the tongue, observing the tongue. And there is no judgment. There is only neutral witness and observation. Beautiful. Welcome, namaste. Namaste into your 5-minute morning meds, where we tap into our inner witness of intuition. So the body is prepared. The mind is observing the tongue. And we deepen our breath into the belly. So very gently invite the belly to become full from the air, which turns into breath as it passes the tongue. As you breathe in, without having to wrestle with the mind, can you surrender and receive the air into breath as it passes by your tongue? Now, this is a very subtle sensation, so I invite you to be loving and curious, even if you're not actually feeling anything other than your breath. And can that be enough? Can the intent of witnessing the breath in as it passes the tongue be enough? as the breath becomes full into belly and rises up into heart, can you feel the essence of intuition also filling up? And if you like, a gentle pause when your breath is full, savoring the sweetness of the tongue and intuition, and very gently releasing, easy breath out, nice and easy, easy and warm and gentle. Easy, warm breath in, a gentle pause, and easy breath out with a gentle pause. Now find your rhythm of this easeful breath, and can you be in the breath versus doing the breath? Can we be into our intuition instead of reaching or grasping for intuition? How can we open up into our breath so intuition naturally just glides in? Now, jaw and teeth are soft. Tongue is supple. And on your next several breath in, if you feel steady, begin to rise. Begin to rise the belly breath in, all the way up into heart, up into third eye, into Ajna chakra, our subtle energy of intuition, the element of light. And with eyes closed or open, but if they're closed, what light begins to shine with your eyes closed? If your eyes are open, what light do you see beyond the mind's grasps? Even if only for a breath, can you see, can you be, and receive into this light? Next several breath in, can you expand? Can you feel the shower of this light from intuition cascade not only over your physical body, into your emotional body? Can you cascade this light of intuition into your energy body? Into not only Muladhara, Svadhisthana, but Manipura as well, your energy body. Inviting and feeling this vigor, this ojas of this light of intuition, cascading and filling up into Anahata, our heart center, Vishuddha into throat filter, up into Ajna, intuition, and allowing each chakra, each wheel of subtle energy to be filled, to be shared and weaved into the beautiful array of light of intuition. With each breath in, fill up through each subtle wheel of energy and light, and eventually pouring out Sahasrara, our crown chakra, emanating through each kosha, through each layer of body, soothing through the kleshas and the samskaras, the binds, the heaviness of the mind, and inviting light into these spaces. Now, next breath in, Breathe into belly, fill up into every space, every cell of your being, and a gentle open mouth, sigh out. Beautiful. And I invite you to bring your left hand over your heart center and your right hand just over top of your forehead, maybe even the pinky connecting with the third eye. And feel this connection of the next 3 breaths in from heart into intuition. And I ask you, can you invite the mind into this? Can you invite the mind, invite the mind in to receive heart and intuition? And when your 3 breaths are completed, find Anjali Mudra. Thumbs press into heart space, elbows press apart, and the palms press together. And together, collectively, as intuitive beings over human doings, can we breathe in? Open mouth, gentle sigh. And if your eyes are closed, please gently flutter your eyes open and be present now. Thank you. Thank you. That was very cool. That was very cool. And it was very cool that the phone rang. The phone that we never answer. That the phone rang at the end. Just reminding us that when we can move the mind into a sense of settlement, that it can be soothed, our intuition grows. Because we are intuitive beings. Our soul is not held within our body. Our body is held within our soul. We can have access to move beyond the mind's fears, worries, and anxieties, and find a space and frequency above that. Because we have four distinct brain waves, okay, that we go into that are accessible. And Thai yoga massage at She Achieves Studio, and even Root to Crown Foundations, the 8-week signature series that I offer in studio, and I'm working on offering it virtual as well. So if you're not able to come into the studio, we can still access the 8 weeks of Root to Crown Foundations. And it's really quite beautiful because we do have access to bringing the mind from the busyness into a deep sense of Shavasana, where the actual mental thoughts in the mind become slower. There's space created between each single thought. And in essence, this is, in my eyes, this is where true healing can become embodied and integrated into every cell in a cellular level. So that's what Root to Crown offers. Not only Root to Crown Foundations, but really any offering at She Achieves Studio, even the free offerings. Oh, hello, helicopter. Oh, lots of activity this morning. Okay. And wouldn't that be interesting if we were in the middle of the meditation and the helicopter came over? I wonder what you would be thinking. If you would have been distracted, if I would have been distracted, or if there would have been a sense of, oh, I wish that helicopter wasn't flying over while we're meditating. Or could we have seen ourselves thinking, could we see ourselves thinking nothing about it? As if as if the noise of the helicopter were our thoughts just passing through. Our thoughts are just journeying through our experiences, through this life. We're not our thoughts. And it is so freeing when you're able to embody that, if you're ready. Again, some people may not be ready for that frequency. And you know what? Peace out, brothers and sisters. Like, right on. That's cool. That's where you're at. Honor that. Yet if you're ready, if you have that seed planted and you're like, yeah, I get it, then expand on that. I call that spiritual synergy. And there's a lot of that on sheachievesstudio.com. I've worked really hard in sharing spiritual etheric synergy on the web. And I've broken through a lot of barriers of my own, creating and sustaining the website. And I call it a website with a heartbeat for a reason, because every second that I spend creating that, not creating because I did have help, but continuing and sustaining that spiritual synergy comes from love. And if it doesn't come from love and I recognize it, I remove it. So healing love is etheric. We can feel this energy and these vibrations through Zoom, through Facebook Lives. Instead of always trying to push evolution away, how can we embrace it? And in essence, that's what yoga truly is, to yoke, to bring together, to find a sense of harmony. Because life is going to throw us, I don't know if you know, does anyone know? But life is going to throw us some curveballs. Right? You know, it's like, I got it all figured out. I meditated. I had my coffee or my decaf coffee. I worked with my mudra this morning. I did the 5-minute morning meds with Chantel. I'm set. My day's going to go easy peasy. I am in my spiritual synergy and nothing's going to throw me off balance. And then something happens. Then the phone rings. And then something throws you off balance. Okay, so that's going to happen. That was kind of a funny there. So that's going to happen. So why tapping into your intuition is so powerful is because you're able to remove yourself from that experience, to be able to see and witness it. So you stay in your harmony while all of this disharmony is happening, is fluttering around you. That is super duper cool. Like Satnam, 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 all the way. But it takes work. I call it spiritual discipline. And that's why a lot of the series and offerings at She Achieves Studio are not just a drop in. They're 4-week, 5-week, 8-week. Okay? So Root to Crown Foundations, I'm promoting it. I'm starting to promote it a lot more now because I really feel it's mental health solutions through soulful intentions. And that's a mantra that I truly have a lot of integrity and authenticity and belief in, because I've seen it over the years offering Root to Crown Foundations. And Root to Crown Foundations is actually a prerequisite course. It's a prerequisite. It's 8 weeks. In order to be invited into the upcoming fall series, which is called the Root to Crown Expansion. And Root to Crown Expansion is going to involve Akashic Records, shamanic drumming with intent, which is so very powerful. It's a teaching I'm working very, very closely with recently. And it also has to do with Kundalini Kriyas. So because the Kundalini, the shamanic drumming, and the Akashic Records are so high vibed, they're like way up there. You talk about intuition, you go up into the Akashic Records, yeah, it's a little bit higher. Okay, so in order for me to help facilitate you into those spaces, into those realms, we both have to be able to know that you are able to access that. And that is why Root to Crown Foundations is the prerequisite. Because it is such sacred space, Root to Crown expansion, that I just cannot just have someone call up and say, hey, I want to do this. That's not what She Achieves Studio is about. So that's where that spiritual synergy is really connected and tapped into with spiritual discipline. And part of that discipline, I've learned that discipline when I was in the infantry in the Canadian Armed Forces umpteen years ago, being a fitness bodybuilder, competitor, you know, and kicking butt, being a personal trainer, Thai yoga massage, the discipline that has to go in through this, the discipline of being the seer and not the seen. Okay, so you're kind of picking up the vibe of that. So it takes a certain amount of, like I said, commitment and discipline. And that's why Root to Crown Foundations is the prerequisite before any of the lovelies that come see me can venture into Kundalini Kriyas, shamanic drumming with intent, and Akashic records. So it's kind of cool. So if you're sort of jiving with this, if it's like sitting pretty good in your throat chakra and in the heart, then connect with me, because it is an 8-week course. The prerequisite to get to the Big Daddy is 8 weeks, okay? And it's where we focus on each chakra every week. And then I offer you Thai yoga massage, where you're able to embody what you've just created with each chakra. So you're bringing in a sense of connection, a sense of, willingness, a sense of surrender. So you're not actually, it's really cool because you don't actually do anything. I don't actually do anything. You don't actually do anything. We just be in that space and you're able to receive. And as always, if you've ever been into the studio, you know that it is safe and sacred space. That is also something that She Achieves Studios committed to. Okay? So anyways, there's lots more I could talk about Root to Crown Foundations because I love it. And there's lots of information on SheAchievesStudio.com under offerings. And there's even a little video. If you'd like, you can be invited into the email collective, where I send out sacred emails every full moon and new moon at 6 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. So to become part of that email collective, just go to the homepage on SheAchievesStudio.com. The link is in there somewhere on the Facebook Live here, and just sign up for it. Okay, you'll get a confirmation email, and then once you confirm on the upcoming new moon, you'll receive a sacred email with some special offerings into it. If you'd like to connect with me and talk a little bit more about spiritual synergy, because you know I love this. I do talk about this all day, to the pets, to the family, to the plants, to the trees, all the time. Connect with me with a free karma call. It's a free 30-minute virtual karma call that you can book on the website under offerings, under karma call. And we can just sit and chat. Whether you want to chat about a dream, anything to do with intuition, whether you want to chat about an offering, whether it's free or fee-based, it's up to you. Because it's nice to know that when we do open up these doors into these higher realms, that we're supported further. That we have the support to be able to find steadiness into our being. Okay? Beautiful. So, inner witness, feel free to share this mudra with yourself throughout the day when you tap into your intuition. And can you become playful as that intuition downloads? And I'll leave you with one very cool way to increase your intuition. Okay? Do you want to hear it? And I want to thank everyone for showing up today. It's this, with the sun shining, it's kind of hard to read all the names. So thank you for sharing. And I would love to hear your comments once I post this video. I'd love to hear your comments about it and your experience with the meditation. Like, I'm all over that. Come talk to me. And one way to connect deeper into our intuition is, let me just think here. Give me a minute. Let's let me breathe into it. Okay. All right. So, let's say you had a dream. Let's say you had a dream of a magpie. Okay? You woke up and you're like, wow, I had a dream of a magpie. And a magpie was sitting in a tree and he was looking at me and he was squawking and talking and we were talking back. Okay? So you have that feeling, you know, that dream residue, I call it, that sort of stays with you. And you keep thinking of this magpie for some reason. And maybe normally you never think of a magpie. Okay? Like, I don't even pay attention to magpies. Well, I do, but maybe this is just for the scenario, okay? So, you never really think about magpies. You have a dream of the magpie, and then guess what happens? You're sitting in the backyard around the fire pit, and a magpie flies up beside you on your chair and looks at you. Okay? This is just a hypothetical scenario, although it may have happened to you. And you look at that magpie sitting beside you after you've had the dream, and that feeling of the magpie has been with you all day, and you're like, wow, that's weird. That is like so weird. That is so crazy, right? And you're like, wow, that's so weird, man. I can't believe this magpie freaking flew up beside me and I had a dream of the magpie. That was so weird. That is like so bizarre. I can't believe it. That's like totally weird. Can you go on and on and on about that? Okay, so that's cool. That's awareness. Okay, that's, you're willing to be aware. That's amazing. Peace out. Love you all. Do it. Own it. However, if you are inclined to tap further into your intuition, one way to strengthen that is scenario B. The second scenario, you have the dream of the magpie, he shows up, you look at it, and you have a conversation with it without words. You observe the magpie. All of a sudden, that magpie shows up, and guess what? You become into your breath a little bit more. You feel a little bit more relaxed. You feel calm. And then all of a sudden, you're thanking the universe for this gift. And then you start to pay attention to your dreams a little bit more. So, in essence, the moral of that story is how to increase your intuition a little bit, if you're willing, is to go from any divine synchronicities that show up, from being crazy and weird, to thankful and aware. And it may not be easy, yet it is simple. And isn't that our life? It may not be easy, yet truly our life is simple when we tap into our intuition. And for my intuition, into your intuition, I say namaste, peace out. I love you all. I'm leaving you with a little sound vibration, ending our 5-minute morning meds. I'm not even paying attention to the time anymore. Oh, it's 8:20. Wow, that's been almost an hour. This was supposed to be a 25-minute ordeal. Okay. Love and let go. If you'd like to find the condensed 5-minute morning meds, I will be posting it later if the universe allows me to post it later. And you can always check out She Achieves Studio YouTube channel as well for more meditations. And SheAchievesStudio.com has a little, I don't even know what they're called, little drop down thing at the top, and it says Gifted Guided Meds. Gifted Guided Meds. So if you'd like a few free meditations, there's some on Gifted Guided Meds on SheAchievesStudio.com, along with information about Root to Crown Foundations, which is the prerequisite into Akashic Records, Kundalini Kriyas, and Shamanic Drumming with Intent, all wound up called Root to Crown Expansion, which is the level 2. So join me for spiritual synergy. Again, I say namaste. Peace out. I love you all. Sat Nam, Sat Nam, Sat Nam.